सो रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी क्या है वो ये हम लोग आज सीखने जा रहे हैं क्योंकि रिसर्च इज a tool or it's not a tool, it's overall ideas of scientific inquiry. Okay, जो रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी होता है, जो जो साइंटिफिक इंक्वायरी होता है, ये अलग होता है कॉमन सेंस नॉलेज से. वो हम लोग outcome one में we came to know. Okay, so in the course outcome two, you will able to understand, you will able to see the meaning, purpose, and the importance of social research. You will understand. So, जैसे कि when we try to understand any kinds of social facts, any kinds of social institutions, any background of the society, then ऐसे ही वो कॉमन सेंस नॉलेज से नहीं होगा. क्या करना पड़ता है कि हम लोग को एक साइंटिफिक इंक्वायरी, जैसे कि ऑब्जर्वेशन होता है, जैसे कि इंटरव्यूज होता है, जैसे कि एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन होता है, जैसे कि ऑब्जर्वेशंस, हिस्टोरिकल एनालिटिकल होता है, ये सब एक सोशल रिसर्च इंक्वायरीज होता है. That is quite similar to that of the physical science or the or scientific way of understanding at society or at the organisms. So the third outcomes is about the identify and classify the different types of social research. So in the third outcome, you will be able to understand the types of social research that is being used in social research. Okay. Fourthly, apply the logic of inquiry, particularly inductive and deductive reasoning in social research. So, after learning through this social research uh, and purpose, importance, we will able to understand the particularly inductive and a deductive reasoning. Inductive, which means that from the micro to the macro. Okay, inductive. In terms of inductive, it is from the micro, मतलब छोटा छोटा से वो बड़ा होके वो मिल जाता है. मतलब वो बेसिकली क्या होता है, वो बेसिकली जब वो प्रीकॉन्सिव नॉलेज नहीं होता, मतलब पहले से वो जो रिसर्च स्टडी है, जैसे कि मान लो कि अर्बन प्लानिंग का ऊपर में दो प्रकार का पढ़ सकते हैं. ओके, एक तो इंडक्टिव जो नीचे से ऊपर, जो माइक्रो से मैक्रो हो जाता है, छोटा से बड़ा हो जाता है, वो जो जब रिसर्च करेगा तो. एंड दूसरा है डिडक्टिव, वो जो डिडक्टिव का मतलब है जो ऑलरेडी पढ़ा हुआ है, ऑलरेडी अर्बन प्लानिंग के ऊपर में पढ़ा हुआ है, वो पढ़ के हम लोग जाके जो स्पेसिफिक स्टडी इंक्वायरी एरिया है वहां पे जाके अप्लाई करता है, वो ये बोलता है डिडक्टिव रिसर्च एनालिसिस. सो इंडक्टिव मोर फील्ड वर्क, मोर फील्ड बेस्ड, more interactive, more interaction, and whereas जो deductive होता है more theoretical based, more preconceived ideas, and more of literatures that has been already there. Okay, so that has been already there before studying the particular phenomenon. Okay. So all these things are very important while understanding inquiry of social research. Okay, and last but not the least, the course outcome 5 is that you will able to interpret and use. Okay, abduction. Abductive is a form of reasoning where we start with an observation and try to find the most plausible explanation. It was developed by the philosopher Charles Standard Peirce. It involved generating a hypothesis to explain surprising facts. What about retroductive, right? Retroductive. Retroductive is really used to identify the underlying structure that cause a phenomenon. Commonly used in critical realism in social science research, it goes beyond observation to ask what deeper condition must exist for this event to occur. Okay. So, abductive is more of a research which is trying to understand most likely explanation. जो रिसर्च जैसे कि अर्बन प्लानिंग, रूरल प्लानिंग, देन क्या होता है डाइवोर्स रेट, डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस, ये सब एक रिसर्च प्रॉब्लम्स है जो हम लोग रिसर्च मेथडोलॉजी से पढ़ाया जाता है, which is a form of scientific research. Okay, so objective जब होता है वो कैजुअल एक्सप्लेनेशन जो रिसर्च करता है वो थोड़ा जनरल लेवल में करता है। जब रिप्रोडक्टिव रीजनिंग होता है कि वो डीपर इनसाइड द पर्टिकुलर सोशल फैक्ट्स और सोशल फिनोमेना में चला जाता है। ओके, सो इट इज मोर ऑफ एन मैक्रो एंड अ माइक्रो, माइक्रो एंड अ मैक्रो। ओके, सो ब्लॉक वन में क्या है, इंट्रोडक्शन टू साइंटिफिक इंक्वायरी। ओके, तो ब्लॉक वन इज ऑल अबाउट इंट्रोडक्शन टू साइंटिफिक इंक्वायरी। ओके, सो साइंटिफिक इंक्वायरी इज व्हाट, क्यों क्यों चाहिए साइंटिफिक इंक्वायरी? क्योंकि बिना साइंटिफिक इंक्वायरी, जैसे कि जो टूल्स है साइंटिफिक इंक्वायरी का टूल्स क्या है, वो explanation, observation, justification, historical analysis, experimental observe. These are all the way of this scientific inquiry in social research. Okay, so like in social in science, they do experimentation in library, right? So in social science, it is not about only in quantitative or library. It is about observation, it is about experimentation, it is about historical analysis. That is very important in social science research. Okay, so scientific inquiry क्या है? Scientific inquiry is a systematic and empirical process used to investigate phenomena. Okay, so scientific inquiry क्या होता है? वो एक systematic empirical process होता है used to investigate phenomena. Okay, it also involves observation, hypothesis formulation, experimentation, and data analysis. The goal is to produce objective and reliable knowledge about the world. Scientific inquiry ensures accuracy, verification, and generations of knowledge. Okay? So, ये scientific inquiry में क्या होता है? Basically, ये एक systematic और empirical process जो daily lived experience है, वो उसका ऊपर में investigation of the phenomena takes place in scientific research. Okay, systematic होता है वो एक प्रकार का science, empirical process होता है वो daily life का जो experimentation, justifiable knowledge होता है उसको ऊपर में investigate phenomena भी होता है. Okay, so basically systematic is all about observation, experimentation, data analysis, hypothesis formulations. These are all part of the scientific inquiry. Okay, so what is the main target? क्या है main target to obtain scientific inquiry? Is to attain according to objectives and reliable knowledge. Okay, scientific inquiry ensures accuracy, verifications, and generalization of knowledge. So those scientific knowledge should be verifiable. That should be accuracy should be there. Then there should be the generalization of knowledge. So when you talk about the science, they always talk about accuracy. They always talk about the generality. Okay, so what is the productions of knowledge in Tripura should be the same production of knowledge in Mizoram, Assam, USA. So that's what the science try to take up. Okay, so those are the generalizations of knowledge which requires accuracy and the verifications. That is only possible through scientific research. Okay. So next, when you come, then we have to come about what is inductive and deductive inquiry. Okay. Scientific inquiry follows two main approaches, right? Inductive and deductive research. Inductive is basically developed theories from observation. I told you that Inductive is basically from the micro to macro. Okay, so it is about developing theories from observations, theory building. So it may be through a more extensive fieldwork, extensive observations, extensive uh, assignments of fieldworks, and there could be a building of theory that will be coming up after the finishing of this scientific inquiry. What about deductive research? Text testing theories using data theory testing. Okay, so in terms of deductive research, you find that it's more of a theoretical base where you already have the theories, you already have the explanations about the particular phenomena. Just you need to do is that implement and try to adopt or try to compare with the existing social or scientific theories. Okay, so both approach helps in developing and validating scientific knowledge. So both these theories uh, approach to developing and validating scientific knowledge. Okay, so then we come what is common sense and what is science, right? So science is which is known to be the scientific and objective based on evidence. They want evidence used of precise measurement and analysis. As I told you that science is all about the systematic structured body of knowledge. And they need accuracy, verifiable and generality. That is what science is all about, right? However, common sense approach is based on personal experience, intuition, objective, often subjective, may lack systematic investigations. So that what's happened when it is about common sense, it's personal experience. It lacks scientific systematic investigation and often very subjective. So coming to that, science and common sense knowledge. Then let's go back to what is the meaning of social research. Social research is scientific investigation of social phenomena. It studies human behavior, social relationships, and institutions. It uses scientific method of data collections and analysis data. The aim is to understand patterns and problems in society. So, social research is not about only the scientific research. It is about understanding the social phenomena, okay, like institutions, social relationship, and though it is a scientific investigation, it tries to understand the pattern and problems in society. Okay, so that is what the conclusion of Unit 1 is all about. Then you come to Unit 2, which is basically trying to understand the meaning, purpose, and aims of social research. So, what is the purpose of social research? The purpose of social research is to discover new facts about society, to analyze social phenomena and their causes, to have in policy formulations in social planning, to contribute to knowledge development in social sciences. Okay. So what about the aims? What about the aims? Let us talk about the aims also. Aims of social research is description, explanation, prediction, evaluation, and knowledge generation. As I have said that what is the aim of social research? They want generalizations, right? They want descriptions, they explain prediction and evaluations. So it's all about, though it is social science, you can say that scientific and structured and systematic body of knowledge. That is social research. Now coming to the unit 3, types of social research, it is all about research based on applications, research based on objectives. Okay, so research based on applications, pure research, that is more about expand theoretical theory knowledge, focus on understanding fundamental principles. Okay, pure. Okay, so that is more pure research which you could understand. Okay, So focus on understanding fundamental principles, expand theoretical knowledge. Okay. Whatever applied research, applied research is undertaken. It is a part of it is a type of social research which try to understand and solve practical problems, uses knowledge for real world applications. Okay, so research based on application, it is about pure basic research which is focusing on understanding fundamental principles. Then applied research which uses knowledge for real world applications. What about research based on objectives? Exploratory research, descriptive research, explanatory research, and correlational. Okay, so exploratory research explores new topics and ideas. Descriptive research describe characteristics of the phenomena. Explanatory research explain cause and effect relationships, and correlation research examines relationship between variables. Okay. Research based on methods. What is that? Quantitative research, uh, qualitative research, conceptual research, empirical research. So quantitative research use numerical data and statistical analysis, whereas qualitative research uses interviews, observations, and textual analysis. Conceptual research focuses on theories and concepts. Empirical research based on observation and real world data. Okay, so these are the types of research. So you can say research based on applications are pure research and applied research. Research based on objectives are exploratory, descriptive, explanatory, and correlational research. Then coming to methods, it is related quantitative research method, qualitative research method, conceptual research method, and empirical research method. Okay, so that is the concluding part of the unit 3. Now coming to unit 4, logic of inquiry, inductive and deductive law. Okay, math research. Okay, so as I have said, logic of inquiries refers to systematic reasoning used in research. It guides researchers in formulating research questions, selecting methods, interpreting methods. Okay, so logical reasoning ensures valid and reliable conclusions. Inductive reasoning is all about from specific observation to general conclusions. Inductive is more specific observations to conclude general conclusions. It helps in developing theories and generalizations, often used in qualitative research. Inductive is often used in qualitative research. Example, observing patterns in data to build a theory. Okay. What about deductive reasoning? Deductive reasoning moves from general conclusion, general theory to specific observation. General theory to specific observation. Used to test hypotheses. Common in quantitative research. If premises are true, the conclusion is best logically valid. Okay, inductive and deductive. So what about abductive and reproductive reasoning? Okay, now let's see to okay. Abductive reasoning involves finding the most plausible explanation for observed facts. It combines elements of inductive and deductive reasoning. Research propose hypotheses to explain unexpected observations. Okay. What about retroductive uh, reasoning? Retroductive reasoning works backward from observed phenomena. It identifies underlying causes or mechanisms common in social science theory development. Okay. Importance of social research, abductive and retroductive reasoning help develop theoretical explanation, understand complex social phenomena, they strengthen analytical and critical thinking in research. Okay, so Suprita, thus, as we come to the concluding part of the lectures, today lectures, please let me know, like, if you have any queries, if you have any doubts on this research methodology in social science. Okay, so coming to check your progress, I have given 5 questions, which is very important for your exams also. Okay, so first one is, how does the scientific approach differ from common sense in terms of objectivity and reliability? Okay. Secondly, briefly explain the three main goals of social research: to describe, explain, and predict social phenomena. Contrast quantitative and qualitative research when it is an exploratory design most useful. It is obviously useful in qualitative research. Define theory building versus theory testing logic. How do they interact in the research cycle? What is the difference between interference to the back explanation, abductions, and working backward to find causes, retroductions? So, coming to the summarizing part, as we have understood what is common sense knowledge, what is scientific inquiry, what is research aims, what is research types, what is logic of inquiry, and advanced reasoning. Okay, so it is all about how science versus common sense is a very different phenomenon. Like in terms of science, it is systematic and empirical versus intuitive and personal. Okay, common sense is more personal, it is more empirical. Whereas science is systematic and empirical, and common sense is more of an intuitive and personal. Okay, so what is the aims of doing a social research? Describe, explain, and predict social phenomena for policy and knowledge building in the society or in the textbook knowledge. Research types, it is mostly basic versus applied, and quantitative versus qualitative approach. Okay, so qualitative is more on exploratory nature. Quantitative is more about theory testing or to test an hypothesis which is already there. So, in terms of qualitative, it is more of an inductive. Okay. So, in terms of quantitative, it is more deductive. So, in terms of deductive, it is theory testing. In terms of inductive, it is more a theory building process. Okay. So, advanced reasoning, abduction, best explanation, and retroduction uncover hidden mechanisms. So abductions and retroductions is also very important in doing a social research in the contemporary society. So this is the common lectures of the block one, which consists on the inquiry of social research. Okay, so basically, we tries to understand the objects of social, so scientific inquiry to understanding the any types of phenomena. Okay, so that's it for today's lecture. Now you're open for your questions and answers. If you don't understand, you may please come forward with the questions. Then I will verify you. Suprita Das, are you still there? Yes. Okay, so let's do anyway today only few have done. So this same lecture will be followed with the block 2 of the next lecture. Okay, so next lecture you should be ready with your you have to read and come the block 1. Then we will discuss on block 1, and the next part we will come to the block 2 sections. Okay, so that's it for today. We will meet in the next class. Best of luck, Super. Bye bye. Huh? Okay, bye.